All right. Well, welcome everybody to the November 27th edition of Speaking of Zane. It's our 215th edition. How about that? 215th Thanksgiving edition. How about that? Hope everybody has had a happy Thanksgiving. We had Jackson, Caitlin, and Carson here, and Everett, and Hannah, and it was a good dinner and a great place setting there in the dining room. And Lori got a good picture of, or I guess Caitlin got a picture of us at the table there. But good to have everybody in here tonight. I made we had two turkeys actually, and I had a 13-pounder that I smoked on the smoker. Turned out great. And decided we had Everett's dad and stepmom and two little babies were supposed to come over, and our two little bonus grandbabies, twins, Ezra and Maya, were supposed to come over, and they didn't come over. We had two turkeys, and 13-pounder, like I mentioned, and like a 19-pounder. Lori was going to do that one in the traditional way, and we made a judgment call at the last minute because they couldn't make it, and just did the one turkey. So we saved the other one. It was already thawed. So I chopped it up, and I did a turkey tagine today in the crock pot. Oh my goodness. Let me give you the rundown on that. When Charlotte and I went to Morocco, we learned all about the tagine. And it's traditionally with chicken, like chicken, potatoes, maybe carrots, onion, garlic, cardamom. That's one of the biggest. Lemon slices or zest or orange, any kind of citrus, raisins, green olives. And I let that bad boy cook for like 5-6 hours. And I did the 2 wings, 2 legs, 2 thighs. That's all I could fit in the crock pot. And I'll save the breast meat for something else. But Charlotte and I learned all about that when we were in Morocco, and fell in love with it. And there's a classic pottery dish that you use that's a conical. It's got a, it's not pottery, Lori. What is it? It's, what would you call that? It's like earthenware, but it's got a base, and then it's got an earthenware lid, conical lid that goes on it. The theory is that the steam that rises up drains back into the mixture, right? And it just recycles itself, and it comes out so tender. Anyway, I had that turkey left, and I said, what can I do with it? It'd be a little bit different. And I often do a chicken tagine. And so I decided to do a turkey tagine, and man, it turned out so good. I've only had one bowl of it, but I think Jackson and Caitlin are on their way home from work. They both had to work today, and I think they're going to have some. but man, it's absolutely delicious. I got a whole crock pot of it, and we'll see how well it keeps. I might freeze some of it, but anyway, hopefully you guys got creative with your turkey leftovers. We had all the other traditional things. I cooked Lori gave me the recipe, and I cooked some sausage. What do you call it, Lori? Sausage stuffing. And that turned out real good. We had a bunch of deviled eggs, of course. I love eggs. I ate eggs on my diet, so that was no big deal. But good stuff there. And we celebrated Everett's birthday. You remember last week, he had a birthday at his dad's with a bunch of his school friends. But yesterday was the actual date. November 26th. He's 6 years old. That little kid is something else. He reads better than I do. And he's just now in kindergarten. But anyway, he's gone back to his dad's. He was home here with us all week. But got a, let's see. Well, let me acknowledge some folks here. Let you all know that you are here. Daryl's in there. Hey, Daryl. Back, remind me, Daryl, if I don't talk about your mission. I've got the mission I gave you. Daryl's got an update. Steve Shirley's in there. Hey, Steve. I saw Steve raising his little grandson upright. They had a little hockey tournament at the house there. Steve lost. There's my dad from South Georgia. Hey, Dad. And Dad had my sister and her oldest, Heather, and her husband and their two kids there for Thanksgiving. They live up in where they lived at, Anniston, Alabama, somewhere near there. Ken's in there. Yep, Ken, I got you, buddy. And Carl Q's in there from up in Warsaw, Missouri. Dan Jeffers is in there from Florida. We got people from all over today. My Aunt Cindy over from Alabama. Hey, Aunt Cindy. Jimbo's in there from Omaha. All right, let's see. Who is that skinny guy? Dan Jeffers is in there. I mentioned that. I always eat at the kids' table. I eat at both tables. Koofy's in there. Hey, Mike Kufrovich, how are you? Good to have you in there. Yep, had a good Thanksgiving. How was yours down in, I always want to say Nashville, Koof, where you're at, but I know it's not Nashville, but I know it's Nashville, Georgia, that is, but you're down in that area. And all right, well, good to have everybody in there. And Hey Hira, yeah, how could I forget Hey Hira? How could you forget a name like Hey Hira? But good to have you in there. I'm going to hook up with you sometime when I go down there and see my folks. Overdue for a trip down there. We almost went last week, and then they shifted Everett's birthday, so we didn't get to go down there. So we're going to go here pretty quick. I'm taking the last 2 weeks of the month of December off. So we're going to have plenty of time. Maybe it's age, Koof. Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to run down there, spend some time with Mom and Dad and Sharon and my brothers. But let's see, I got a little 4-mile walk in yesterday. One of my favorite places to walk is in the little town of Dallas, Georgia, which is about, I don't know, Lori, what is it, 10 or 15 miles from here. We're in Ackworth, and Dallas, Georgia. They have a Veterans Memorial Park, and they've got a track there, and it's a half mile around the park, and just a beautiful park. They maintain real well there at the courthouse. And so I decided to get out of the house yesterday, and I went over there and did a 4-mile. Usually I do a 3-miler when I go there because it's a half-mile track, and you do 6 circuits, and it's 3 miles. And if my math is right, it's Georgia math. And anyway, I just kept going. I was having such a good time. It was beautiful weather, and I did a 4-miler out there yesterday. And then today I was watching my little granddaughter, Carson, who's almost 3. She'll be 3 on, when's her birthday, Lori? December 31st, I think. She just squeaked it in that year. She'll be 3. And speaking of reading, that girl can talk up a storm. And it's just amazing. She knows all of her colors, all of her numbers, everything. And anyway, she talked my ear off. I'm used to walking. I'll listen to a podcast or maybe some music or maybe nothing at all. But all I heard today was Carson. Her name is Carson Sky. And she'll tell you, my name is Carson Sky McDonald. And anyway, we had a good walk. There's a track. There's a little 8th-mile track in the neighborhood, Bitwater, next to the one of the pools and set of tennis courts, and it's flat 8-mile track there. No dogs are allowed, so there's no poop in there or anything. But we took the stroller and actually ran a good bit of it today. She said, "Run some more, Granddaddy, run some more." I'm like, "I'm tired, girl." So I ran a good bit, but that was fun. And she's in the bed now. She has her own bedroom here upstairs, just down the hallway from me. And yeah. So let's see what else is going on here. The Reach Across America is coming up. Not too early to remind everybody. If you have a veteran cemetery near you that's participating, there's 3,400 of them doing so all across the country. It's likely you're within distance to take one in. We'll be at Georgia National. My company's doing a whole bunch of them all over the country, but we've got a personalized Reach Across America page if you want to get some more information about that. I'll throw it up on the screen here, but let's see, that's the one for work. Hey, Aunt Paula, good to have you in there. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, who's that? Who's the Facebook user whose boy turned 18 there? That for some reason I don't see the name there, but oh, is that you, Carl? I thought your boy was older than that. Here, let me find the Reese. Speaking of Zane, Reese site, so you can check that out. But yeah, that's coming up on the 17th, so it's not too early to. Oh, hey, Dan. Okay, Dan, gotcha. Whoops. Go back up here. Quite a few down there in the Tampa area that participate. Sarasota, Florida Nationals in Bushnell, just north of Tampa, and then there's Bay. What is it, Aunt Paula, over there in St. Pete? Bay something, Bay Pines, I think. And then there's a VFW cemetery right on Del Mabry in Tampa that participates as well. So there's lots of them in the Tampa area. But we'll be out there on December 17th, and check your local times. Generally speaking, most of them are in the 11 a.m. time frame. I know at Georgia National, they let any family members place wreaths at 9 a.m. and then there's a ceremony at 10, and then the general placement of wreaths begins at 11. Usually it doesn't take about an hour to get them all placed, and Georgia National is small compared to some. But anyway, you can sponsor wreaths as well. I think the wreath sponsoring quits on the 29th, which is like the day after tomorrow. But anyway, that'll be fun promoting that. I've been listening to Reach Across America on my walks. You can go to reachacrossamerica.org/radio, or you can go to, I almost said Pandora, or any of the streaming services that you listen to podcasts or whatever. And I pull it up and listen on my walk, and they've started doing some Christmas music, but it's a lot of patriotic music, a lot of country music, patriotic spin to it. But it's kind of nice with segments in there talking about different fallen heroes and different things like that. But anyway, that's coming up. One of our favorite things to do, Lori and I. Ashamed to say that we didn't know about it or didn't participate before Zane passed, but now, I mean, we just wouldn't feel right not doing it. But let's see what else has got going on here. Weight loss is steady, even splurged a little bit on some potatoes. Jackson made this macaroni and cheese that just is incredible, and some garlic mashed potatoes. And I mentioned the stuffing. None of that stuff's on my keto diet, but I did splurge a little bit and had some. And man, I hadn't had potatoes or macaroni since January. But I had a little bit, and it was delicious. But I'm still at 63 pounds weight loss, I guess, as long as I keep my activity up. I really want to get much more than 63, but I'm at 63 at the moment still. Okay, let's see. Cranking back up the work week. I mentioned, I guess it's about 3 weeks to go. I'll work pretty good for the next 3 weeks and then take 2 off. And that'll be good to get a little bit of a break. And we've got a guest speaker this week. Since November is the Veterans Day month, we've got a guest. Actually, we've arranged one of our employees at WWT is a retired 3-star general, and so he knows he knows a lot of people, of course. And he arranged for us to have the Surgeon General of the Army. His name is Lieutenant General R. Scott Dingle. We got like a lunch and learn that he's going to speak this week. I think it's on Wednesday. But good stuff. All right. Well, let's see. Hat of the week. The hat of the week usually has something to do with what's going on around here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. And this week, I donned my USS John F. Kennedy hat. I got this hat at the christening of CVN 79, which is the brand new version of the John F. Kennedy, and still under construction. But our son-in-law, Will, who's married to Abby, Zane's wife, is a nuclear guy in the Navy, and he's been for the last several years working on the new power plant there on the JFK, and he invited me up there for the christening a couple of years ago. It was awesome. I guess it must have been 3 years ago because it was pre-COVID, December. Been 3 years, I guess now, but of course. And then, of course, he was buried just 3 days later at Arlington. And so because of that, I decided that the John F. Kennedy would be the hat of the week. How about that? Now, what do you guys think about the clean shaven with the turkey neck? Sometimes I get a little bit of a hankering to shave it off. But one day when I hit puberty, I'll be able to grow a proper beard like my dad. But until then, I'll just have to stick with the goatee and shave it off every now and then. But well, speaking of this week in military history, this is yesterday. All 6 of Japan's first-line aircraft carriers, the Akagi, the Kaga, the Soryu, the Hiryu, the Shokaku, and the Zukaku, with over 420 planes, set sail for Pearl Harbor. How about that? Wow, it's amazing, isn't it? And back then, we didn't know it, right? We would know that kind of stuff today. We watch every inch of the world today. But yep, you're right there, Koof. They were headed to Hawaii, and we all know what happened on December 7th, and we're going to hear a little bit about that. Ken, I haven't decided which date will work for you, but somewhere in that window, I'd love for you to be a guest to tell your dad's story. Ken's dad was there. How about that? So Ken grew up probably like I did, thinking everybody's dad's a hero. I did. I grew up thinking everybody's dad's got a Silver Star and a Purple Heart, and he was a badass Marine. And I'm sure, Ken, that there was a period of time that you grew up thinking that it was just normal. Your dad was there, survived Pearl Harbor, and now Ken gets to tell the story about that, and he does a great job. That sounds great, Ken. Next Sunday would be great, and I'll send you the instructions on how to. We'll pull your video in here and everything, but maybe we'll do a little dry run on that. But Ken, I've enjoyed since I've known you. I've enjoyed that each year, hearing about that, and we'll look forward to it. All right. And then I mentioned this on November 25th, 1963, just 3 days after his assassination, John Kennedy was laid to rest with full military honors, of course. He served in World War II on the PT. Anybody know the PT boat? If you're my age or older, you probably read about it, read the book, the novel. first person to put what PT boat it was in the chat there doesn't win anything, but Koof got it. No, Facebook user, whoever the Facebook user is, followed by Koof, Daryl. Yep, PT 109, very famous PT boat there. But love it. That's all this week in military history I pulled today. But I do like every now and then I'll keep my eyes on the news and things popping up, and then if I don't find anything like that, I'll go searching. I've got a couple of websites that I look at to pull this week in military history items. But hey, history is there for us to learn from. That's for sure. And can't change it, can we? Well, we can learn from it. And I've always enjoyed history. I mean, they say you can't do anything about it, but it's fascinating to me to learn about, especially that World War II. I'm a big Civil War buff and a big World War II buff, and I just think the world of that generation, World War II. And when I was a kid, I'd read everything I could about World War II and about the battles and, of course, aviation. Built a lot of models and stuff like that as a kid. But got a buddy, James Hatfield, who many of us flew with. James is a nurse now. James builds models like crazy. It's like he's building new two models a week or something. I don't know what he does with them all. Does anybody know? But I love watching him. But he'll build those things, and I don't know if he gives them away. I don't know what he does with them, but I'd run out of room if I built that many. I built a lot of them as a kid. I had them hanging all over my room. My dad will tell you I built a lot of models for sure. But all right, well, let's see. We had a couple of Veteran Cemetery Challenge visits this week. Of course, Daryl visited Wanda at Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery there near St. Louis. Daryl makes about a 75 mile round trip to visit Wanda, and he does that at least once a week. And I mentioned this last week. Some of you may not have been on with us, but I gave Daryl a little bit of a mission, a challenge. Somebody at work, one of my colleagues at work, shared a picture of a headstone that's at Jefferson Barracks. I showed it last week, and it's puzzling because some things don't make sense. I think you have to know the backstory, Daryl, for it to make sense. And Daryl is, since he's the closest there, Daryl, he said he spent a couple hours today looking for it. And I don't know if I have any more info to help you there, Daryl, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. There's no rush on it, but boy, it sure will be nice to know the story behind that headstone for sure. So Daryl let us know. Daryl made a visit, and Jim Miller made a visit to St. John's, where his wife, Deborah, is buried. She passed the week after Zane passed. I'll never forget it. And they were married. Jim, how long were y'all married? 30 years or something? But and then on his way home, stopped by Omaha National. He drives right past Omaha National. Man, I would just love to be able to drive past Omaha National every week and visit Todd, our buddy, there. But I'm so glad that Jim is able to. And then I did make a visit. There's a cemetery between Ackworth and Dallas in a little hamlet called New Hope, Georgia. New Hope, Georgia. Dad, I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not, but I'll tell you a couple of reasons it's known. But one is there's a cemetery there that's it's a Union and Confederate. It has both flags fly over this cemetery. Now, how about that? Some people probably hate that, but both flags fly over this cemetery, and there are soldiers from both sides buried there. I have visited before, but it's right on the road, and I just swung in there yesterday. I guess it was yesterday on my way home. The other thing New Hope is near Pickett's Mill. So if you look up, as Sherman and the troops started to come down from Franklin, Chattanooga, Chickamauga, and then down, toward Atlanta, there were a lot of battles along the way and a lot of skirmishes and stuff. Well, one of them was at Pickett's Mill, and Pickett's Mill is right around the corner from New Hope. And anyway, the other thing, and I forget the exact date, but in the 70s, a Delta airliner that had left Birmingham and it was heading to Atlanta ran into a hailstorm and suffered significant enough damage that they had to crash land on the main road in New Hope, Georgia. And anyway, there was a bunch of fatalities on the ground and from the passengers. And it was like a DC-9, I think, a jet. And anyway, there's a memorial there at the cemetery to that flight. But anyway, New Hope, if you ever get down to Georgia and you're in the Ackworth, Dallas, Kennesaw area, then you can swing by New Hope. You can see Pickett's Mill. There's so much history right around here. But anyway, so I swung by there yesterday, made a visit. But it's just fascinating because you don't find a whole lot of cemeteries where you've got soldiers from the Confederacy and the Union side by side, and both flags waving at the cemetery. Very rare, for sure. Let's see. So that made 4 visits this week. So our current Veteran Cemetery Challenge visits sits at 720. So 720 times one of us has visited a veteran cemetery or a cemetery with a veteran. And we've done that at 164 different locations. How about that? Always looking to add new locations for sure. And you guys have probably seen the map. Let me pull the map up for you here for anybody that hasn't seen the map. And I try to keep it current. It's as current as I could remember right now. But it's kind of cool. You can click on each push pin and you can see the date and who visited it. I tried to chronicle it like that. So whenever you guys tell me that you make a visit, then I will add it to the map and I'll put the date and who made the visit. And it's kind of a cool thing. Let me put it in the chat for you here. If you've never seen it before, it's kind of cool. You can do that on Google Maps. But okay, well, let's see. Moving on to the Thank a Vet Challenge. And I know some of you had some thank yous this week. Maybe some I don't know about. I know it's a holiday weekend, but I know Jim, when Jim went to the base this week, he thanked the gate guards, and that was an Air Force member he thanked there. And then Ken had a nice thank you this week. Was a retired Air Force guy, an E8 in the Air Force. That's Senior Master Sergeant. And Ken, it was a great story. Ken does a great job of chronicling his interactions. And it sounded like, Ken, that this guy, as a result of your thank you, this guy pledged that he would do the same. How about that? So good on you there for rubbing off on somebody. And Steve thanked a Navy vet named Greg today at the Lowe's. Lowe's is a great place to meet vets. I tell you, you can find me there a lot. And I love it. He was a technician. Let's see. Steve says he was a technician who worked on the photo sensor equipment on F-14s. Oh, very nice. Speaking of F-14s, I finally, because my friend Amy posted something about it, Amy Walton, who's often in here, I finally watched Top Gun. I don't know, when was it? Friday night, maybe here. It's on Google, Amazon Prime. And man, I tell you what, I was impressed. And I'm not a big sequel guy, like most people aren't. But you can never, you're never satisfied, right, with the sequel. But in this case, I thought they did a fantastic job. there was enough intertwining of the original, and it was just an um, awesome film. And so if you haven't seen it yet, you might want to see it. Interesting story I posted about this, that I saw the original. Me and my good friend Carl Kihas were on alert together in the Azores. I guess it had to have been 1986, right, Carl, because it had just come out. And of course, we were on alert, so we're on a short leash. And but we went to the base theater, which is right on the alert route, and we we're watching the movie. About halfway through, I guess it was halfway through. I don't know how far through it was, but we got a klaxon horn, and that means you got to report to the airplane. And I'll never forget it. We jumped up out of our seats and ran out of the theater, and old Carl, he just about took out a pregnant lady standing at the door. I'll never forget it, Carl. I don't know if you remember it or not, but he was booking it out to the alert vehicle, and this lady was standing right in the doorway, and obviously pregnant, but she almost got plowed over by Mr. Q there. But fortunately, he was agile enough in his youth that he was able to avoid the impending collision there. But yeah, and I don't even remember now when I saw the whole thing in its entirety after that. I don't remember. But of course, I've seen it over and over again since. But it's a classic. But yeah, good memories there on Top Gun. So if you haven't seen it, yeah, it's guy approved, whatever that's worth. But I like those kind of movies anyway. Probably like most of you guys, I'm probably more, and I know my dad's like this. I scrutinize those movies a lot more maybe than the average citizen, right? We all do. Things stand out to us that aren't quite right, and some of them are hard to watch. They're just hard to watch. But I thought Top Gun did a great job with the haircuts and the uniforms, and everything I thought was really well done, enjoyable. But I might watch it again. Once you rent it, you get it for like a month. But anyway, that was a lot of fun. That's one of the things I did over the weekend. Let's see, what else? So that takes our thank yous up. I'm going to add Steve's here, and then increase our total. I'll give you the grand total here. So 3 for the week, and we are at 1,816. So 1,816. So we got less than 200. Well, 184 to go till we hit 2,000. You guys remember when we hit 1,000? Lori had that nice little poster back there made up, 1,000 thank yous, and we're coming up on 2,000. So I'm gonna have to figure out how I can put we'll get a 2 and put the 2 over it, and then when we get a 3, we'll put a 3 over it, and that way we don't have to make a new one. But appreciate Lori doing that. But yeah, we're getting close to 200. So good job there. We're not hunting veterans, but when we come across them, we sure are thanking them, aren't we, Aunt Paula? I know Aunt Paula does her part, that's for sure. She's a patriot. Worked for the Air Force, Aunt Paula did. For how long, Aunt Paula? 30 years or something? Holy smoke. And happily retired now. And doesn't look like she should be retired. She's a very spry young lady. But let's see. Organizations. I mentioned Reach Across America. This year's motto, they have find a way to serve. Wow, how about that? That's appropriate for a small little service org like this with 14 people listening in and several others that'll watch the YouTube. But not too shabby there. But let's see. Mentioned last week, My Warrior's Place got a new truck. I think you guys saw that. But Reach Across America, yeah, their motto this year is find a way to serve, find a way to serve. Forget what it was last year, but they always come up with a clever sort of motto for the year, and find a way to serve is what it is. this year. But good stuff. Well, what am I missing in the chat there? Anybody have a military history item or anything coming up you want to share about other organizations? Lori and I are still waiting on in fact, I just sent an email off. We've got a special something, don't tell Kelly. We've got something special coming for Kelly Kowal, our friend that runs my Warriors Place. It's not here yet. Hope to have it by Christmas. But I can't wait to show you guys. I cannot wait for you guys to see it. It's just absolutely phenomenal. And I hope we can get down there. Maybe, I don't know, Lori, maybe during that 2 weeks I'm off, maybe we can run down there for a couple of days. Go see mom and dad, go down to my Warriors Place, and come back. I don't know. We'll see. But I'd love to do that. But good stuff. All right. Well, that's about it for this week. I know a little bit shorter than normal, but that's all I had to report on this Thanksgiving weekend. Hope everybody has a good week coming up. I know I've got 3 hard weeks I got to get my students through before we take some time off. But I'm looking forward to it for sure, and looking forward to getting back here on Speaking of Zane. Lori's going to be, Lori will be back. Lori and her book club friends are heading up to Williamsburg. I guess it's on Thursday. They're going up to Williamsburg for a few days, come back on Sunday. Something to do with these book series and stuff that they read. And of course, if you've been to Williamsburg, wow, the history up there all through the Virginias and everything is just fascinating and phenomenal. May remember when I took Charlotte to Quantico for the FBI Academy, I spent the next week after dropping her off going through all Civil War battlefields, all through Virginia and the Carolinas. But there's Revolutionary War, obviously, history there and everything. But crazy. If you're a history person like me, you see I get a little bit excited talking about it. But good stuff. Good stuff. All right. What else? I think that's about it. Can't think of anything else coming up this week, but Ken, we'll look forward to maybe you and I can connect Friday night or Saturday and make sure that you can get in connected okay video wise, and we'll look forward to hearing the story of your father and his experience on December 7th, 1941. Fascinating that Ken has a first-hand account. Well, he's got a second-hand account, but he heard it straight from the horse's mouth, and it is fascinating there. So, Ken, we'll look forward to that next Sunday night for Speaking of Zane, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody else then as well. Have a great week. Make it count. If you see a veteran, say thanks. Reach out to your buddies. Don't take anything for granted. Oh, I got some bad news to report now that I'm thinking about it. And yeah, this is a terrible part of it. Our friend Aaron Bartle, who heads up the Running to Honor. We've been doing the Running to Honor 5K every summer for the last 3 or 4 years. And Aaron served in the Army and served in Iraq, and is on a mission to help end veteran suicide, bring awareness to PTSD, and very active with his VFW up there in Michigan. And I imagine one of the worst phone calls you can get, Aaron got last week about one of those he served with losing his battle with PTSD and taking his own life, unfortunately. He's Master Sergeant Mark Davey. Master Sergeant Mark Davey passed on the 17th, and it was Aaron's platoon sergeant in Iraq. So Aaron, our condolences and commiserations to you. I know that's the very thing that you've devoted your life to help and prevent, and I just can't imagine the sadness that you must feel. Just a terrible occurrence, 22 a day. And that doesn't count the ones like Zane who may pass under other circumstances, but related to their time of service, whether it's drugs, alcohol, or whatever. But just a terrible thing, and it's just a reminder to don't take anything for granted and check on your buddies and let them know that that you're thinking about them, you care about them. Like Ronald Reagan said, my favorite quote of all time, we can't help everybody, but everybody can help somebody. And that's so true. The 22 a day seems staggering. How does anybody even begin to approach it? But if one person, right? We can't help each of us alone, can't help everybody, but everybody can help somebody. And I guess that's the way that we're going to have to do it. And Aaron, I shed a tear for you when I read that, and it just got to hurt. It's got to hurt. Aaron's devoted his life to that. You see the things that he does and all the activities and involvement he has with veterans and his VFW and the race and everything. And it's just to get that news. It has to hurt even more. I can't imagine Aaron. I haven't talked to Aaron, but it just has to hurt even more. Like Lori and I are always thinking, what did we miss? What could we have done different? You can second guess for sure. And we're much more educated now than we were. But that still doesn't soften it or take the hurt away or the guilt or, what could we have done? What could we have seen? How could we have, we talk about just a little thing could make the difference. Well, what was the little thing that we missed, and so it's just a little bit of a dichotomy because we're preaching to reach out and check, and maybe that's all it takes. You just don't know. And then when something like this happens, it's, I don't know, it makes you wonder. But anyway, Aaron, we're thinking about you and Master Sergeant Davies' family for sure. And all we can do is just do our best to bring awareness and do whatever we can to try to prevent it from happening to the next soldier, to the next soldier, to the next. And anyway, well, that's it, folks. I'll look forward to seeing you all next Sunday night for Speaking to Zane. Have a great week. Make it count and enjoy the holidays, and look forward to seeing you next Sunday.